Bitcoin is the king of the future, and it's already building its empire. We're slowly reaching a point where we'll even have to burn our shoes to generate electricity for miners to produce more Bitcoin. So until that day, we're going to talk about Bitcoin's price trajectory. The king of the market, the new king for the world's people, trading as an asset with very high intrinsic value, has drawn special attention in recent years. We've seen a solid upward trend from it lately, and it still has its own dedicated fans who are looking for even more price growth. We want to take a complete and comprehensive look to see what Bitcoin's movement trend is like and what targets it has ahead of it. First of all, we'll go to the monthly time frame and Bitcoin's long-term chart, where we see a chart that has always had an upward movement trend. It has only tried 2 or 3 times to break its monthly Kumo cloud to the downside. Even then, it only managed to break it in terms of time, and after a short-term fluctuation of a few months, it returned to its higher levels again, and now it's trying to do the same thing, reaching the Kumo cloud area and maybe penetrating inside it. We're talking about the monthly time frame, guys. In the weekly time frame, well, things are a bit different. Always after the sharp upward trends that Bitcoin has had, where it managed to hit new price peaks, it then needed a correction. It needed a return lower below its own Kumo cloud, reaching targets and then starting the upward trend again. Something that I think is very likely to happen now as well, and I'm talking about a $50,000 target for Bitcoin right now as a downside target area where it could actually see its downside goal reach $50,000, and after that start a more powerful trend for a proper ascent, breaking the Kumo cloud upwards again and having an upward move. But in the weekly time frame, what's evident regarding Bitcoin is the discussion of further correction and more movement towards lower targets. Now we want to take a look at Bitcoin together independent of Ichimoku. Well, the support level ahead of it is the $54,000 level as temporary support, and after that it goes for that same $50,000 range, both of which are important levels. It could be a pullback to this area and this broken peak. It could reach this bottom and want to start from there. But I think $54,000 is a completely reachable goal for Bitcoin, and in the weekly or daily time frame, we can expect its movement towards this level. On the other hand, a lower order block that we see on Bitcoin, which could even reach the $40,000 range with a shadow-like drop, having a price shadow to so-called liquidate users in the weekly time frame and from a price action perspective, and then want to start the ascent. I have a special emphasis that yes, the overall path of Bitcoin in the weekly time frame and the monthly time frame has always been upward over recent years, and I think this path will continue. However, we must look for valuable entry points with sufficient value, which I'd say now are around approximately $52,000 and the $42,000 range in the middle of these 2 yellow areas I've marked, which are suitable for buying and holding Bitcoin for higher time frames and a long-term holding strategy. Looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, after its peak of $125,000, it entered a downward trend, moving toward lower lows. We see these bearish trends becoming increasingly powerful. But in this current range, it hasn't been able to strongly establish a lower low below its previous low of $60,000, at least not with significant depth. That's why I'm waiting for a clear signal from the market. A signal that, while this short-term bearish leg on the daily chart lasted for about a month, starting from May 12th, if it continues with yet another leg down, I would say the trend is definitely bearish, clearly heading toward $54,000 and $42,000. But right now it's testing this support level, so we need to wait and see how it reacts to it. On the other hand, looking at the Ichimoku indicator again, we can clearly see that the bearish trend remains intact. It's stuck in a sideways range, and given the global instability and the risk-off sentiment surrounding Bitcoin and crypto, this downtrend will likely persist, leading us to suggest lower entry points for buying. Another point we should discuss is Bitcoin's long-term price targets on the higher time frames. Similar to our previous video on gold and the price action we analyzed there. Taking a simple look, using Fibonacci extensions and carefully considering our downside targets, price levels of $150,000 and $195,000 are not really that far-fetched. Since Bitcoin's long-term trend is generally bullish, we can look to buy and hold, especially around the significant price points of $52,000 and $42,000. These levels have shown strong support in the past, and they could provide excellent opportunities for accumulation and long-term investment. So, keeping all of this in mind, it's important to remain patient and strategic as we navigate these price movements. That's all for now. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Unique Fund.